Washington, D.C., formerly the District of Columbia and commonly called Washington or D.C., is the capital city and the only federal district of the United States. The city is located on the east bank of the Potomac River, which forms its southwestern border with Virginia and borders Maryland to its north and east. The city was named for George Washington, a founding father, victorious commanding general of the Continental Army in the American Revolutionary War, and the first president of the United States who is sometimes referred to as father of his country. The district is named for Columbia, the female personification of the nation. Washington, D.C. anchors the southern end of the Northeast megalopolis, one of the nation's largest and most influential cultural, political, and economic regions. As the seat of the U.S. federal government and several international organizations, the city is an important world political capital. It is the 8th most visited city in the U.S., with over 2 million visitors as of 2019. The U.S. Constitution provides for a federal district under the exclusive jurisdiction of the U.S. Congress. As such, the District of Columbia is not part of any state, nor is it one itself. The Residence Act, adopted on July 16, 1790, approved the creation of the Capital District along the Potomac River. The city was founded in 1791, and Congress held its first session there in 1800. In 1801, the District of Columbia, formerly part of Maryland and Virginia and including the existing settlements of Georgetown and Alexandria, was officially recognized as the federal district. The city initially comprised only a portion of its modern territory, as a distinct entity within the larger federal district. In 1846, Congress returned the land originally ceded by Virginia, including the city of Alexandria. In 1871, it created a single municipal government for the remaining portion of the district. Though locally elected government lasted only 3 years and did not return for over a century, there have been several unsuccessful efforts to make the district into a state since the 1880s. A statehood bill passed the House of Representatives in 2021 but was not adopted by the U.S. Senate. The city is divided into quadrants, which are centered around the capital and include 131 neighborhoods. As of the 2020 census, the city had a population of 689,545, making it the 23rd most populous city in the U.S., third most populous city in the Southeast after Jacksonville and Charlotte, and third most populous city in the Mid-Atlantic after New York City and Philadelphia. Commuters from the city's Maryland and Virginia suburbs raised the city's daytime population to more than 1 million during the workweek. The Washington metropolitan area, which includes parts of Maryland, Virginia, and West Virginia, is the country's 6th largest metropolitan area with a 2020 population of 6.3 million residents. The city hosts all 3 branches of the U.S. federal government: Congress legislative, the President executive, and the Supreme Court judicial, and the governmental buildings that house most of the federal government, including the White House, the Capitol, the Supreme Court building, and multiple federal departments and agencies. The city is home to many national monuments and museums, located primarily on or around the National Mall, including the Jefferson Memorial, the Lincoln Memorial, and the Washington Monument. The city hosts 177 foreign embassies and serves as the headquarters for the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, the Organization of American States, and other international organizations. Many of the nation's largest industry associations, nonprofit organizations, and think tanks are based in the city, including AARP, American Red Cross, Atlantic Council, Brookings Institution, National Geographic Society, the Heritage Foundation, Wilson Center, and others. A locally elected mayor and 13-member council have governed the district since 1973, though Congress is empowered to overturn local laws. Washington, D.C. residents are, on a federal level, politically disenfranchised since the city's residents do not have voting representation in Congress, although the city's residents elect an at-large congressional delegate to the U.S. House of Representatives who has no voting authority. The city's voters choose 3 presidential electors in accordance with the 23rd Amendment. The top history place in D.C. are Ford's Theater, Lincoln Memorial, Washington National Cathedral, Thomas Jefferson Memorial, Woodrow Wilson House, National Mall, Old Post Office Pavilion, Smithsonian Castle, Capitol Hill, Old Stone House, McPherson Square in downtown. As of 2023, the Washington metropolitan area, including District of Columbia as well as parts of Virginia, Maryland, and West Virginia, was one of the nation's largest metropolitan economies. Its growing and diversified economy has an increasing percentage of professional and business service jobs in addition to more traditional jobs rooted in tourism, entertainment, and government. Between 2009 and 2016, gross domestic product per capita in Washington, D.C., consistently ranked at the very top among U.S. states in 2016. At $160,472, its GDP per capita was almost 3 times greater than that of Massachusetts, which was ranked second in the nation as of 2022. The Metropolitan Statistical Area's unemployment rate was 3.1%, ranking 171 out of the 389 metropolitan areas as defined by the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis. The District of Columbia itself had an unemployment rate of 4.6% during the same time period in 2019. Washington, D.C., has the highest median household income in the U.S. at $92,266. According to the district's comprehensive annual financial reports, the top employers by number of employees in 2022 were Georgetown University, Children's National Medical Center, Washington Hospital Center, George Washington University, American University, Georgetown University Hospital, Booz Allen and Hamilton, Insperity PEO Services, Universal Protection Service, Howard University, MedStar Medical Group, George Washington University Hospital, Redcoats, Catholic University of America, and Sibley Memorial Hospital. Federal Triangle, a historic hub of executive departments of the U.S. federal government. As of July 2022, 25% of people employed in Washington, D.C., were employed by the federal government. The vast majority of these government employees serve in various executive branch departments, agencies, and institutions, and only a small percentage serve as temporary staff for presidents, Congress members, or in the federal judiciary. Many of the region's residents work for companies and organizations that sign contracts with the federal government or work on issues directly related to the work of the federal government, including law firms, defense contractors, civilian contractors, nonprofit organizations, lobbying firms, trade unions, industry trade groups, and professional associations, many of which have their headquarters in or near Washington, D.C., in order to maintain proximity to the federal government. The largest U.S. government agencies located in or near the city are the United States Department of Defense, headquartered in the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia, the United States Postal Service, the United States Department of Veterans Affairs, the United States Department of Homeland Security, and the United States Department of Justice. Washington, D.C., is a leading center for national and international research organizations, especially think tanks that engage in public policy. Several of the nation's largest and most cited think tanks are headquartered in the city, including the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, Center for Strategic and International Studies, Peterson Institute for International Economics, the Heritage Foundation, Urban Institute, and others. As of 2020, 8% of the country's think tanks are headquartered in Washington, D.C. Many non-think tanks are also leading research centers, such as the MedStar Washington Hospital Center and the Children's National Medical Center.